Number one. Are you ready? Are you ready?
Tremendous show, tremendous success.
Mark Szuszkiewicz with the NFSC at the place to be, AMFEST 2023, and I am here with the man, the myth, the legend, the one and only 45th and future 47th President of the United States, Donald J. Trump. Thank you for joining me.
Mark, it's great to be with you. Great guy, Mark. You look at him. Great guy. Unbelievable.
Now, Mr. President Trump, when you become the 47th president, what are you going to do to stop the Chinese Communist Party?
Well, you look at China. You look at what they're doing with the communism. It's not good. They got 2-year-olds making iPhones, right? Not good. We don't like that. We don't like that. And you know, I have a great relationship with China. You look at what we did in terms of tariffs. We had great relationship with Xi, right? We were doing great deals. And now you got a sleepy, crooked guy in there. He doesn't know what the hell he's doing. He's falling all over the place. But we're going to come back, and you know what? Another thing. People like when I say China. They like it. There's compilations on the internet. You look at YouTube. You look at X, right? We call it X. Used to be Twitter. Now it's X. They have entire compilations of me just saying China, 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 China. People like it. But we're going to do great deals for both our countries because our leaders now are very stupid. We're being led by stupid people. This guy knows. We're being led by stupid people, but we're going to fix that. We're going to fix it very strongly because you know what? Unlike the stupid people, I, Mark, have a big, beautiful brain, and I'm going to use it, and I'm going to use it so strongly, okay? Believe me.
You talk about the tariffs. You're actually the first president to sell tea to China. So you sold tea to Xi.
Well, you look at tea, it goes back to the Boston Tea Party, right? But we sold tea to Xi, and he liked it, and we did great deals with tea and Xi, and it was a wonderful thing. That I can tell you, believe me.
Now we have China bringing in fentanyl into this country, trying to destroy our country. They're getting drugs across the border. We have a border problem. Are we finally going to finish building the wall?
We're going to finish the wall. And I'm not afraid to invade Mexico and kill the cartels that are pouring. You got the fentanyl. It's pouring in. It's pouring in. And I always used to say the drugs are pouring in. I never thought those drugs would pour in and end up in the White House with Hunter. You look at Hunter. He's smoking crack. He's sniffing coke. It's not good. There was never any coke in the White House when I was in office. That I can tell you. This guy knows. There was never any coke. Unbelievable. He was in charge of making sure of that. Well, and we made sure very strongly, okay?
Well, you're drug-free and live a sober lifestyle, which should be a role model to the American people. But unfortunately, we got the fake news who wants to hate on one of the greatest presidents in history.
The fake news media, they're so dishonest, not like these people. These are good people back there. They're patriots. They love their country. They hate communism. They like America. That's why they flew all the way here from China to Arizona, right? That's not an easy flight. That's like 35 hours. But they flew in for 35 hours because they love America. And they don't like communism too much. That I can tell you. They don't like it. They don't like it. This guy doesn't like it. Although he's wearing a mask. I don't know how I feel about that mask, but that's okay. Some people want to wear, you know, the Asians always wore masks. You know what I mean? Even in the 90s, you'd see an Asian person, and nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. We love the Asians, and we love what they want to do, okay?
Speaking of the masks, it became more popular, obviously, in America after the release of COVID, a.k.a. the China virus, as you called it. What are we going to do in the future to stop future biological attacks from China?
Well, in the future, we're going to stop funding these places that are doing labs. They're doing things. The Fauci, you look at it. It was funded by Fauci. There's a clip of Fauci saying, I kind of want to have a virus because my whole life I wanted to be the virus guy. And you know what? He became the virus guy. It is such a disgrace. So we're going to stop funding the labs because you know it came from the lab. I was one of the first ones to say it. They were like, no, it was a bat. It was a this. We call it, it was the Russia virus. It was the tree virus. I said it's not Russia, it's not a tree. It came from China, and these people know that better than anyone. They were at ground zero when it first came. I don't know, it's not good. But they all survived because they're strong people, and they're great people, and yeah, we're not going to let any more viruses come into our country, believe me.
I believe you also called it the Kung Flu.
The Kung Flu. They were calling it that on Twitter. I just happened to quote it. I got in a little trouble, but they called it the Kung Flu. What are you going to do, right? What are you going to do?
But
I was quoting other people, and I quoted them very strongly, believe me.
can you explain how you love the Chinese people?
Better than anyone. I love the food.
but
You
not
look at the General
communism.
Chow's. You look at the fried rice. I love it all, believe me.
In the song by my friends DVS and Ito, they do take down the ZCP, which is because it's Z Communist Party
Right.
and not the Chinese people. The Chinese people are not represented by communism.
They're
so
great
there's
people.
This entire movement is mostly Chinese people. We love Chinese people, but we hate communism. Is that true?
Nobody loves the Chinese people like I love the Chinese people, believe me. But we don't like the communists, right? You don't like the communists, right? We don't like them. It's not good.
All right, so
Not good.
we end off our interviews with the chant,
Sure.
take down the CCP, because that's what we're here to do.
Let's do it.
And I think you're very loud. You're a great speaker.
Absolutely.
I think you're going to be louder than anyone else
Sure.
that I've interviewed so far.
Sure.
So let's do it. Let's get everyone involved here.
Everybody
We want
involved.
the entire building and the people in mainland China to hear us. Take down the CCP. Take down the CCP. Take down the CCP. Hello, Mark Szuszkiewicz with the NFSC at the place to be, AMFEST 2023. I am here with viral sensation Korey Yeshua. Thank you for joining us.
Good to be here. Good to be here. I love coming. It's amazing. It's an amazing time.
The new federal state of China is exposing the evils of the Chinese Communist Party and how they want to destroy America. And one way to destroy a country is the old saying, divide and conquer. And they try to divide us by all different means. One of those things is dividing us by race, and especially in our youth with critical race theory. One of your viral videos, you had your daughter and you were talking about critical race theory. Can you tell us about the dangers of communism and how they try to divide us to destroy our country?
Yeah, man. Honestly, I did a video with my daughter. I seen what was happening in the schools, right, with the DEI, intersectionality, CER, like you said, critical race theory, and just the Marxist agenda to divide us, you know, by race, by gender, skin color, all these things. And I decided to pick up my phone and speak the truth, you know, and that's that we're not different the way they try to make us to be. You know, we're all human beings. We're all created by God. Like, you're white, I'm black. But in God's eyes, we're not white or black. We're just people. We're humans.
Both good-looking people.
Right. So, you know, yeah, man, I seen that agenda going on, and I seen what they were pushing, you know, and I decided to speak up against it, you know, and it ended up going viral, you know, and people seen that it was the truth. It was that we aren't different the way they're trying to make us out to be. You know, what happened to judging people by the content of their character and not the color of their skin, like MLK said.
Now, the Chinese Communist Party has a big influence in things like the NBA and celebrities. You have people like LeBron James pushing some of that divisive message out there. The Chinese Communist Party in reality is evil. I mean, you look at the sweatshops and the sneakers that LeBron James tries to promote and things of that nature. Can you tell us about how you feel about how they control our corporations?
I think it's wrong, man. I think that more Americans need to realize what is happening. Like you said, the sweatshops and things, and LeBron doesn't speak about any of that stuff, but he'll talk about the things that's going on in America as if they're like serious issues. You know, he'll bring up things that aren't really problems and make them problems, when in reality, we're being bought out. You know, you see all the farmland that the CCP is buying up in America. You know, why aren't people speaking about those things? Like you said, the factories and the slave labor and all those types of things. You know, the Uyghurs and all that type of stuff. You know, that stuff's not spoken about. You know, that's the stuff I care to speak about. If I'm given a platform, I'm going to put the light on it. problems and issues that are actually going on, not stuff, this woke stuff that has nothing to do with anything that they're just trying to divide us with.
Yeah, most NBA players and celebrities are afraid to speak out against China. You have people like Enes Kanter, but LeBron James, I think one time he said something about China and then quickly apologized. He won't apologize if he says something bad about America and how he will take a knee for the national anthem. That's
Right.
fine, but don't dare make fun of China.
Yeah, I think, was it John Cena as well? Like, he had to apologize for something. Like, you see these celebrities, man, and it's crazy. It's like, why don't they speak the truth? They're scared. You know, they're scared to lose their money. They're scared to lose their fame. They're scared to lose their influence. That's why they don't want to speak out, you know. But I'm not afraid. You know, you give me a platform, I'm going to speak the truth as I see it, you know, and that's just what it is.
What message, speaking of speaking the truth, what message do you have to people out there who are afraid to speak out?
Well, what kind of future do you want? You know, do you want a future where your children aren't able to have the same type of freedoms that you have, that you've had growing up? Because that's what is going to happen if we don't speak out. If we don't speak up, we don't start doing things to mobilize and change things. We're not going to have a future in America. We're not going to have the freedoms that we've had in America. So we either speak up or lose everything forever.
Yeah, definitely. You don't have to have a six-figure following or anything like that to speak out. Every voice matters. Basically, they say silence is violence, and it's true, but not the way that they preach. We need to speak up against the evils of the Chinese Communist Party before it's too late. And so that people can know who you are and follow you, could you let the people out there know about your social media so they can follow you?
Yeah, man. I'm just a follower of God, you know, follower of Christ at the end of the day. But you can find me on my social media at Korey Yeshua on Twitter, on Instagram. I did have a YouTube, but I was banned off YouTube for making one video without any warning. So, yeah, and then, yeah, I have TikTok. I get banned on there all the time. Speaking of, you know, China, I get banned on TikTok about 7 times, but I started a new one. So, yeah, you can find me on there at Korey Yeshua on most platforms.
Definitely. Now, we have a little bit of a tradition here that I started yesterday with the people that I interview. We try to get as loud as possible to hype people up and start the chant, take down the CCP. I'm trying to see which guest is the loudest. I'm hoping that you can do it. Let's get this started.
Loud, but you know.
All right. Take down the CCP.
Take down the CCP. Take down the CCP. Take down the CCP.
Hello, Mark Szuszkiewicz with the NFSC at the place to be, AMFEST 2023, and I am here with apprentice guest, lawyer, Turning Point USA contributor, the lovely Erin Elmore. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Now, you did an excellent breakout session as the moderator for the new federal state of China, but before we get into that, tell us how, obviously you're talented, intelligent, lawyer, a lot of career paths you could have went. What made you decide to get involved in politics?
Well, it was an accident. Although I did major in undergraduate in political science and broadcasting, I didn't really think I was going to have a career in politics, but I was on the show The Apprentice with Donald Trump. It was the #1 show on television. And in 2015-16, when he started saying he was going to run, I was like, I am here for you. And it was baptismal by fire. I learned everything there was to know about politics and being a conservative, and I just sort of...
Good person to learn from.
Yeah. So I really just dove in head first, and somehow I started to swim, and now I'm swimming with the fishes.
Now, during the breakout session, you brought up some of the dangers of the Communist Party on what they're doing globally, the Belts and Roads initiative. Can you tell us about that?
Well, yeah, I think a really important book to read is Michael Pillsbury's 100-Year Marathon, and it just explains exactly what the CCP is doing. And we know that China controls our production of antibiotics and medication. 90% plus is made in China. But the Belt Road Initiative is basically a way that China is going all over the world and colonizing, basically saying, hey, we'll give you money and we'll build these infrastructure, bridges, roads, tunnels, for you, and basically they're colonizing every place on our planet and digging their tentacles in deeper, and it's basically a war But they're not using guns and bombs. They're using infrastructure, TikTok, intellectual property, taking our manufacturing, and that's really what's going on.
You mentioned TikTok. Now that's kind of like a double-edged sword, because in order to reach people, we need to use social media, but at the same time, they're censoring us and using the app to spy on us. What's your take on the whole TikTok situation?
I mean, yeah, I don't use TikTok. I mean, I have an account. I'm not perfect, but I don't really go on it. But it is a Chinese Communist Party spying tool. And maybe scarier to some people than the spying is what they're doing to your children. They're indoctrinating them. They're brainwashing them. They're purposefully harming them. And I think that's a scarier danger for many, many parents.
Yeah, right now it's not a war of bullets, it's a war of information and psychological warfare.
Yeah.
What they're doing by brainwashing people, controlling the information, buying out the fake news media. The fake news media wants to focus on things like Russia, but I would say the Chinese Communist Party is probably the biggest threat to America and freedom around the world. Do you agree with that?
Certainly. It's just really hard to watch the corporate media, you know, malign Russia so much when they don't even discuss China.
Yeah,
It's just kind of this like state of hypocrisy when Putin is the only bad guy and Xi Jinping is, you know, someone who came to California for a visit with Gavin Newsom.
Yeah, and they had the fake news media with all the Chinese flags and making it seem like he's welcome there. The great people at the new federal state of China was there to make sure to let people know that he's not welcome there. But before we wrap things up, could you tell the people out there how they can find out more about you, how they can follow you on social media?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. And I think this is such a noble cause. I'm so happy with all the work that you're doing, and I know it's going to be great. I'm on Instagram, Erin M. Elmore, Twitter, Erin Elmore, and that's basically the way you get in touch with me.
Definitely worth giving her a follow. A lot of different topics that she talks about. Of course, she's a Turning Point USA contributor who is hosting this great event, AMFEST 2023. And I started kind of a tradition with our interviews that we chant. One of the things that we say at a lot of these protests, take down the CCP. I don't know if you could be louder than some of the other ones, but I'm guessing you could try.
I'll give you one in, you know, in a news level tone.
All right, on three. 1, 2, 3. Take down the CCP. Take down the CCP. Take down the CCP. Take down the CCP. Thank you, Erin. Mark Szuszkiewicz here with the NFSC at the place to be, AMFEST 2023. I am here with two members of Gays Against Groomers, Matt and Jude. Welcome to NFSC Speaks.
Hi, Mark. Thanks for having us.
We
Now,
really appreciate it.
What the new federal state of China does is they're taking on the Chinese Communist Party and making people aware of the dangers of the Chinese Communist Party. And we see videos of the youth in China learning how to put guns together, basically, you know, physical education, being trained to be soldiers. Meanwhile, here in America, our youth are being trained to not even know what gender their kids are. It seems like they want to weaken the Western world and confuse people. So can you tell us about your organization and how it combats what they're doing to our youth?
Okay, so we are a organization of LGBTQ people who are against the indoctrination, medicalization, and sexualization of children under the guise of LGBTQ. And it all comes from these Marxism ideologies, you know, that you're right, they are trying to weaken the Western world. And if you get to the children, that's how you attack the future. The children are the future. And so by pushing all these mature themes on them and sexualizing them, they're also opening the door to pedophilia and other grooming tactics. And it weakens our future adults. This country is going to fall, and it's already happening.
Yeah, we're having a serious problem. Children aren't passing their core studies classes, and a lot of these minimum requirements that are being taken away. So kids are being told, oh, you don't have to pass these tests anymore. So how are we going to have well-educated humans in the future, especially if they're confused about their gender? I mean, it's just awful to see our education system going down the way it is. And it is all a very long agenda to cripple our country and cripple the future. I mean, and these kids have problems that generations have never seen before. I mean, they're being exposed to stuff they have no business, getting into, and it's all over social media, it's all over the school system now, and it's a little scary, but we do what we can to bring awareness to it, and our members have been appearing at legislative hearings, testifying, school board meetings, city council meetings, backing bills that basically would outlaw federal child sex changes, because that's kind of what this has been pushing for, which is strange that we have to even argue about it, but it is what it is.
Yeah, no one would have thought 10 years ago that there being two genders was controversial.
Right. Very odd.
But it seems like there's a psychological warfare now, and you mentioned the psychological damage it does on our kids. Previous wars, right now, there's not a single bullet fired in our mainland on U.S. soil, but China is infiltrating us by doing psychological damage, starting with our youth. Turning Point USA is very important in fighting the indoctrination in colleges and high school, but you guys in this particular aspect are important in the youth, and the NFSC obviously with the Chinese Communist Party in general. And now in communist countries, obviously their goal is to have global communism. Minorities and gay people aren't exactly treated very well if they end up winning and overthrowing and achieving their goal of having global communism.
The most worrying thing about it is communism is being painted by leftists as this romanticized thing that everybody should be embracing, but all you have to do is actually ask people who live in communist countries, and they will tell you to avoid it in every single way, because it leads to a lot of violence, it leads to a lot of corruption, and it drags down the country from within, and it has to be stopped. And all of these leftists who are embracing it, they need to really look into what they're embracing, because the moment it came on their doorstep, and it's coming fast, it's seeping its way in, it's a cancer and it's seeping in. When it does, they will be saying, why did no one warn us? Everybody did.
Yeah, and we really relate to your organization, because our organization seeks to bring awareness from within. A lot of the times, people don't listen unless they have that experience, unless they have that firsthand knowledge. It makes you that much stronger to be able to speak out from within the community. So it's really good to see you guys here.
Definitely great to be here. Thank you guys for joining us.
Thank you.
And I kind of started a tradition yesterday that at the end of the interviews, we do our famous chant that we do with all the protests, take down the CCP. So I need some teamwork from the married couple over here. And I want you to be louder than everybody else. So let's get everybody hype right now. Take down the CCP. Take down the CCP. Take down the CCP. Take down the CCP. Thank you guys again for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Hello, Mark Szuszkiewicz with the NFSC live in the place to be, AMFEST 2023. I'm here with Las Vegas' own Vem Miller. Welcome to the program.
Thank you very much for having me, Mark. I appreciate it.
No problem. We'll put a little closer to the mic, by the way.
Yeah.
So we can't count on the fake news media to expose the evils of the Chinese Communist Party. So independent media is now more important than ever. Can you tell us about why you decided to get political and start a media company?
So my experience in media started around the mid-90s, right? So in the mid-90s, I started directing music videos, then transitioned to television. I actually worked in the mainstream media, worked for most of the networks out there. I was a producer. I would create and sell shows. So I had kind of like an inside scoop on how that world works, right? In terms of the Mockingbird media, in terms of memos coming in the morning that changed the nature of the news, that determined the narrative. And this is stuff that I saw with my own eyes behind the scenes, right? Now, cut to 2020, we have individuals like Project Veritas, James O'Keefe, exposing what is going on out there. And really it spoke to my heart, because I had seen the corruption, I had seen the narrative being altered in order to fit a certain agenda throughout my 25 years. And I said, you know, this is wrong. We need a mainstream media that is really reflective of our Constitution, freedom of speech, freedom of press, but most importantly, the truth, right? They get us riled up about all these like foreign wars. They want to brainwash us, and that's really what it is. It's a brainwashing mechanism, and especially when you've been behind the scenes. Like for people that are like, oh, the news is real, TV is like real stuff. No. I've been behind the scenes. And the sad thing is, just like we see in our freedom movement, there's not a lot of people that have the courage to actually talk about this stuff because it does determine your paycheck. You do become unemployable in Hollywood if you talk about this stuff. But the risk that we take by not talking about this stuff is literally losing our country to tyranny, losing our country to lies, and essentially becoming a communist country. And that's just absolutely unacceptable.
Definitely, I agree with you. You're obviously passionate about the topic, the Chinese Communist Party. You have some hatred towards them, just like a lot of the people at the new federal state of China. Can you tell us your thoughts about the CCP?
Well, you know, definitely anybody that wants, or any institution, country, government that wants us to go into tyranny, that wants to control our speech, that wants to get away from our Constitution, which really comes from the lineage of the Holy Bible, that is a bad idea. That's a horrible idea. Now, world's not perfect. America's not perfect. In terms of the options out there, this is the most perfect option. It's an imperfect option, but it is the most perfect option. So anything that regresses from where we are right now and goes back into past, communisms or past structures, governmental structures, is literally the most idiotic thing we could do, because we got to go forward into freedoms, not go backwards into tyranny.
Definitely. Now, you mentioned before, a lot of people are afraid to talk about the Chinese Communist Party or certain topics because they have a lot of the corporations and media in their pockets. They control the fake news media, all different corporations, the NBA, etc. What would you have to say to motivate people to go out, get involved, protest, speak out? What's your thoughts?
Man, there's so much we have to do. There's really like a lot we have to do. I mean, the men of this country need to step up. We're out here with the America Happens Network doing a show called Where Are the Men? We're asking where are the men, because men seem to have been, MIA right now. We need to fight this tyranny with everything that we have. We need to get involved. We need to go to school board meetings. They're trying to sexualize the children. They're trying to confuse the future. There's wars on so many fronts. So what I tell the people is, what are you passionate about, right? I'm passionate about media. That's why I do media. Some people are passionate about talking at school boards. Some people are passionate about protesting our very pitiful judicial system. It's just a matter of what you're passionate about. If you watch networks like the America Happens Network, you will find a million topics where you could be helpful. I suggest you find one and you pursue it. Focus on fighting this tyranny.
And how could they find you on social media and American Happens Network?
So AmericaHappens.com, or you could find us on Twitter X at AmericaHappens1, the number 1. You could find me on Instagram as Vem Miller. That's VEM Miller. And yes, we're out there. We're on Rumble. Please check us out. Subscribe to our channel. I do the Blood Money podcast, where we interview some of the greatest minds in the freedom movement. So definitely do check us out.
All right, we're going to get people hyped up with a chant that we do at all the protests. It's very simple. It's called Take Down the CCP, because we want to take down the Chinese Communist Party. I want you to get loud. I want you to wake up the people here in AMFEST 2023. Take down the CCP! Take down the CCP! Take down the CCP! Take down the CCP! Thank you, Vem, for joining us.
Tremendous show, tremendous success.